Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon. My name is Neeraj Periwal. I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at eFolder and your host for today's event. Welcome to today's webinar, Happy Together, Integrating Managed File Sync with your PSA tool. This is part of our eFolder Partner Chat series, which brings together leading eFolder partners for business-oriented discussions, and today we're joined by Centrix IT, based out of sunny San Diego. Now, before I go into today's agenda, let me cover a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded. The recorded version of the webinar will be made available on eFolder's YouTube channel, and we're going to also email the slides out to everyone who has attended today's event. Now let me jump into the agenda for today. So we're going to start off by introducing our partner, Centrix IT, and we're joined not only by the president of the Centrix IT, Eric Rockwell, but also one of their lead technical employees, Sean, and we're really glad to have both of them here today. So after introducing our partners and Centrix IT, we're going to quickly go over why is it important for every MSP to be offering managed file sync to their clients. We're going to dive into what you should look for in a PSA tool, and then we'll have a discussion. Okay, hopefully that echo is gone. Then we're going to have a discussion with our partners about why and how to integrate managed file sync with your PSA tools. So today we're going to focus on ConnectWise, but we know there are other PSA tools out there. And finally, we're going to end with questions and discussion. And so even though we have a special Q&A discussion session planned at the end, we encourage you to submit your questions in the comment box as we go along, and we'll try to get to them on the fly. So without any further ado, Eric and Sean, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourselves to our audience.
Thank you very much. This is Eric Rockwell, president of Centrix IT, and I have my colleague here, Sean Ernst, who's our manager of client services. Hey, Sean.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon if you're on the East Coast.
We're an MSP based out of Southern California. We service clients in San Diego, LA, Riverside, and other surrounding counties. And we've been in business for 13 years and have been an eFolder partner for 3 years now.
Awesome. And what all do you deploy to your clients? Not only whatever you deploy with eFolder, but what other managed services do you have?
We've got one managed offering. It's called Manage IT. We've got 3 different packages that come with a different amount of on-site hours, a point of contact package that only allows 2 to 4 named points of contact to escalate issues to us. A standard package that does not include on-sites but includes everything else. And then a managed package that includes unlimited on-sites. So great managed services offering. It includes everything from VCIO services all the way down to day-to-day help desk support. And for those 4,000 users that we manage, we deploy a pretty standard toolkit, AV, OpenDNS, the SolarWinds Enable agent, and ConnectWise Screen Connect agent on all those computers. And about half of those users today also have eFolder Anchor installed, and we actually rebranded it and called it Cloud Sync.
Cool, very nice. Yeah, great way to stand out in the marketplace. So thanks for that introduction, Eric and Sean, and thanks so much for being here. Pleasure to have you. So I want to get started with kind of why managed file sync? Why is that so crucial to be offering in today's environment? So earlier this month, Dropbox, which is kind of the poster child of consumer-grade file sync, announced that they've got 500 million users and 8 million businesses using Dropbox. It's important to note that of these 8 million businesses, only I think 150 I think the number is 125 or 150,000 are using Dropbox for Business. The rest are using just regular, the free version of Dropbox. And what's the issue with consumer-grade file sync, whether it's Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive? Obviously, consumers love it. Business owners think it's really savvy, especially in today's age, to not have to be trading around these little USB sticks everywhere, and not have to email large files. And really, businesses have adopted consumer-grade file sync in droves. So consumer-grade file sync obviously has its purposes. I mean, with, as you can tell by the name, consumer-grade, it's really great to be able to use at home, to, share family pictures with grandma. But, as it turns out, consumer-grade file sync really isn't meant for businesses. And businesses that choose to deploy consumer-grade file sync can experience any number of threats to their data. So, data theft and data loss, corrupted data, even lawsuits if the data goes into the wrong hands and there's no ability to kind of monitor what data is being shared by who, when, at what time. Compliance violations. Dropbox is not HIPAA compliant, so that's at least the consumer grade version. So that's a very serious issue for any clients that may be in the medical vertical or maybe dealing with electronic protected health information, and loss of accountability and file access, simply because it's not possible with consumer grade Dropbox to have a centralized administrative view of who all is using it, what data is being shared, and where all of that data is going. So partners obviously have a number of needs in terms of running their businesses and serving their clients. They need to enable the mobile devices of their clients' employees. Everyone today has, an iPhone or an Android and a tablet and a laptop, and so it's really important for everybody to be able to do all their work wherever they are, or on whatever device they happen to be. Partners need to be able to improve client security and get rid of consumer-grade technology in the workplace. Partners need to offer new managed services that attract and retain clients. They need to keep up with what businesses are using today. It's kind of like running an MSP and not offering voice over IP. I mean, if you're still stuck with clients using old school phone technology, you're really behind the curve. Obviously, MSPs want to be profitable, and so they need to be able to offer services that they can rebrand and mark up, so they can serve their clients effectively while also generating substantial monthly recurring revenue. And, kind of in conclusion, partners need to be able to deliver a secure and profitable alternative to consumer-grade file sync. So what does a managed file sync solution look like? So here is kind of a diagram of how eFolder Anchor works. Anchor is our business-grade file sync solution designed specifically to be deployed by MSPs. Let's just take a look here. So we've got client A with 2 users. Looks like user 1 has a file server, an iPad, and a phone. User 2 has an iPad, a laptop, and a phone. No file server for user A2. But client A is obviously sharing a bunch of files with their guest users, marked here as user G1. And then we've got partner client B using also similar devices, sharing their content with other guest users. And all of this is made possible through the Anchor agent and through the collection of all the client's data in the eFolder cloud. So given that Anchor is a MSP-focused file sync solution, it of course is multi-tenant, and so you as the MSP have the ability to get a bird's eye view of all of your clients and what devices and users they have. And then, the eFolder Cloud is obviously redundant. We've got silent data corruption protection and a 100% uptime SLA. In terms of security, Anchor, of course, has military-grade encryption, and it is HIPAA compliant. So for any of you MSPs with medical clients or with clients who have to deal with electronic protected health information, you can rest assured that we will sign any kind of BA agreements with you guys so that you can deploy Anchor as a HIPAA-compliant processing solution. So, as I mentioned, Anchor is built specifically for deployment by MSPs. So here's a look at the dashboard. You can see, all the clients that you're supporting. You have a number of different views. You've got like an overview of the storage that you've got is allocated towards you as a partner, how much is being used and how much isn't. So you've got a really granular and yet comprehensive bird's eye view of everything going on with your clients. Any good managed processing solution, including Anchor, is compliant with HIPAA and works seamlessly with PSA solutions like ConnectWise and Autotask, and Anchor is Windows Server Active Directory compliant. Now, Anchor can be offered as either SaaS or private cloud deployment. So, the majority of our partners choose to use the SaaS model, but for some of them with clients that maybe don't want to have their data in the public cloud or who already have a really sophisticated data center infrastructure, we also allow for private cloud deployment. Anchor is, of course, fully brandable. Like Eric mentioned, you can rebrand Anchor in whatever way you want. So we encourage you to go out and take Anchor and put your own name on it, because it is fully white labeled. So enough about Anchor for now. Let's talk about what you should look for in a PSA tool like an MSP. So the value of a PSA tool shows up in a number of ways. So PSA tools can serve as an effective CRM solution. They can serve as an all-in-one service desk operation. They also allow for really great workflow automation. So things like support tickets or billing, billing can be done all in one place, and you don't have to deal with like 5 different portals to go into to figure out, what issues are cropping up and how the services are being used by your clients. With the PSA tool, you can bill and track for time and labor. And of course, a good PSA tool should be able to integrate with all the IT solutions that your clients need. So why should IT solutions love your PSA tool? Well, for one, with a effective PSA tool integrated with your managed services, you're able to systemize your billing for IT solutions, and we're going to go into that a little bit in a little bit. You gain more visibility into kind of the time and labor against solution costs to manage. So it's really great for you to be able to see, how many clients are using these services, how much are they using it, like to what degree, and that can give you tremendous insight into how you can price and package your offering. Of course, technical issues can and do crop up for any MSP, and a PSA solution that's integrated tightly with your managed services can enable all these alerts to show up in one place, so your techie guys can really go in and quickly address these issues. And finally, a PSA solution that integrates with your IT solutions allows you to scale your business as it grows. So again, you're able to track how much your solutions are being used, and you're able to kind of price and package appropriately. So now let's go ahead and kind of give Eric and Sean a chance to talk about, why they decided to integrate their managed policy solution with their PSA tool. So why don't you go ahead, actually why don't I go ahead real quick and just talk about why you should integrate Anchor with a PSA tool like ConnectWise. So for one, you're able to push alerts from Anchor, like close to storage capacity alerts to your PSA tool. The benefit there is you are more organized, you know a lot of details about your deployments, and when any issues pop up, you're able to respond to them really quickly. And with Anchor, you're able to systematize billing processes related to a number of factors like the number of accounts, storage utilization, or the feature used. And this enables better ability to devise more strategic pricing models based around features if you'd like to, rather than simply having one price for the whole solution. And we'll go into that in a little bit. So we have a few screenshots from Centrix IT and their integration between Anchor and ConnectWise. So Sean and Eric, why don't you go ahead and kind of share how you've integrated them and what we're looking at here.
Or Cloud Sync, as we call it.
Yep. Cloud Sync.
And this is Sean. So to give everyone a background, when we deploy Anchor with our clients, we include Anchor in every client, new client that we enroll. And the reason why is we want to show them the value we can bring. So providing them an option instead of them going out and finding a new cloud-based file synchronization option really just goes to add to that value. So this screenshot right now, this shows the user count. So we charge basically on a per user basis. We include the file server enablement, and we include a set amount of storage per user, and just charge them a per user cost. So when we bring in those clients and they have 25, 50 users, we'll include 50 user accounts and the appropriate storage and all the complementary services that Anchor provides.
You can see the description is our product description from ConnectWise. And we've got all the unit pricing entered into ConnectWise also.
So with it, we charge a flat rate per user that, just based on, what makes the most sense. It's profitable for us. It's advantageous for our clients because they have a centralized solution now we can provide to all their users to ensure their data is staying safe and controlled within this environment.
Great. Okay, cool. So we have a few more screenshots. So why don't we walk through them here?
Absolutely.
All right. Can you explain how the integration is working here?
Yep, exactly. So the integration is very basic. So we obviously have ConnectWise. Anchor provide us with just some really easy steps to get the integrator login set up. Under the billing side of the ConnectWise, that basically you just plug in those products from ConnectWise and you just match the syntax of what the product is into the Anchor deployment. So we're only using the number of accounts. That's actually what we're billing on. I do see the benefit of doing total storage and actually charging for storage. And then also for the file server enablement piece, because there are upsell opportunities there. When we went into this, we decided that we weren't going to go and really productize those other features just because we wanted to give them the overall value, which was include everything. The upsell opportunities are then on top of that once they start to eclipse what we've actually allotted them.
And one of the nice things about the ConnectWise integration is that our account managers, they don't have to micromanage the number of users every month. We can actually let our clients create additional users, and ConnectWise will then automatically add those to their invoice. Saves a lot of time, and it lets our account managers focus on the high dollar stuff, not spend a lot of time getting lost in the weeds on adding a couple bucks here and there for these Anchor accounts.
Cool. Yeah, and I do want to mention, in case it wasn't clear, even though we are showing the integration between ConnectWise and Anchor right now, Anchor is also works really well with Autotask. So for any of you out there who are like, hey, I don't use ConnectWise, but I want these same sort of features and abilities, you're able to get them even if you use Autotask. So just wanted to quickly point that out. Cool. And then one final slide here. Sean, could you explain what's going on here and what we're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. So the top picture just going to show what quotas we'll set, what alerting we have set up through the PSA integration. So when we reach 80% of their quota, it automatically generates an alert for account managers to go in, notify the client that they're reaching a certain capacity, and if it's of the total amount, there's an upsell opportunity to add additional storage. The other one, obviously, is that if we reach 8% and we haven't heard back from them, or they say, no, let's wait until it gets higher, we set in one that's really just a fail-safe. Then when they're at capacity 100%, we'll get another notification on top of that. So there are upsell opportunities available just through the way we've deployed it, just because if they max out the storage we've given them, that's great for them. It shows that they're using it to its full capabilities, but also allows us to add on top of that and gain some more MRR just by having some automated alerts come through for us. The bottom screenshot is one we set up for every client that we set up in Anchor. And so what we do is we have a monthly reoccurring report, and I apologize, it's small on the screen, but what it's showing is the total amount of user accounts that are active. So for each client each month, not only does it update ConnectWise, but it also sends this out to show us how many active accounts have been we've seen in the last 7 days of the month. So when we're at the end of the month and we're going to go rebill, if they're only paying for 50, and in this case this one's using 83 accounts, there is a good bit of managed revenue or recurring revenue that we're going to go back and recoup.
I'll have to talk to this guy, Sean Ernst, and let him know that he's at 80% of his quota.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. And yeah, no, that's really important to point out that ConnectWise really, or any PSA, when you integrate it with Anchor, it really allows you to get deeper insight into how you're deploying Anchor and how your clients are using it. And, again, they might tell you that they only have 50 users, but if you see that they've really actually got 83 users on Anchor, then you've got to have that discussion with them about, hey, here's how many we can see you're using. Let's see if we can reach a new agreement.
And we also have set up for service alerts as well. I focus this on the billing side because we all like more money. But from the service perspective, we have alerts set up so that if root shares are deleted, so we have admins at our clients that are there to administer their deployment of Anchor. We also set up alerts to know that if something is deleted, a root share, revisions are deleted, or actually deleted files have been completely wiped out. We'll know about it in real time as it happens because it's opening alerts in ConnectWise for us. By the time someone calls in and says, hey, I'm missing this, we're already in the process of restoring that deleted file. Generally, we can do it right from a revision, or if it's something that we need to restore from backup, we have that option as well.
Cool. And how much storage do you include per user? And do you track like if they're way over their allotment, or what do you do in terms of that?
Yeah, so when we deploy it, we'll give everyone 25 gigs per user. So for example, if it's 10 users, we'll include 250 gigs for the organization. We preset that, so that's set up prior to the deployment. And so when those alerts hit at 80%, then we're knowing, well, before they're at that max, we're knowing that they're approaching it or they're getting close. But it's not something that they can just use as much as possible. We're going to set a limit on that and then bump it up incrementally as we make changes to the monthly bill that they're paying us.
Gotcha. Cool. And let's see, when it comes to support, I know you mentioned kind of the automated alerts that you get whenever maybe a root is deleted on the client side, but do you use ConnectWise for any kind of general support ticket for Anchor?
Yeah, Yeah, all of our support tickets go through ConnectWise, whether it's for an Anchor issue or anything else. And I will say that a very, very low percentage of our overall support tickets are Anchor related.
Well, we sure hope so. Well, great.
And the great part. Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
So the great part about that too is, we're reviewing these on a daily basis with our technical team, but also then on a reoccurring quarterly basis. So if we do see, we have quite a few different service items configured in ConnectWise. I'm sure most who use ConnectWise are utilizing them, but we want to make sure we understand if it's a CloudSync training issue or if it's a technical challenge with CloudSync. We break those out individually, so we're able to see that if it just means that we need to provide some more training because we're investing a large amount of man hours per month or quarter in showing users how to properly use Anchor, we want to make sure that we'll go out there and we'll schedule a few WebEx sessions so that we can train the users, give them the information necessary so they can be, not have IT be a roadblock to doing their jobs, but also instead be really something that's helping them further and enhance their ability to work.
Yep.
Cool. Great. So there are a couple of questions coming in from partners on the line. So let's see, Steven, I guess you already answered this, but Steven is asking, do you charge more when they exceed quota? I guess the answer here is yes.
Yeah, so that's an upsell opportunity. So if, like Sean said, they're paying for 50 users and they have 55, we would add those 55 users onto their invoice. If they're paying for 250 gigs of storage and they start getting close to that, we'll add another 250 gigs on there. We typically go in, we typically go in increments like that. This is all stored in our cloud. We have a private cloud deployment that is multi-state, and typically, and then our storage pricing is very competitive.
Cool. Yeah, another question that came in, I guess you already answered it, but it was, what's the bump? Like, what are your tiers of upgrades? So it seems like you just do 250 gigs every time per client?
Yep, storage and then users. So like Sean said, 25 gigs is included with each user. So in most cases, when they're adding on more users, they're really adding on more storage at the same time. And in other cases, they might just have a lot of document revisions and need a lot of storage. And we would add storage on incrementally. And we don't actually have add-ons lower than 250 gigs. Sometimes we add 250, sometimes we add half a terabyte. The cost for that is so low. If someone's really using that much storage, we'll probably just tack on another 250 or 500 and then manage it moving forward.
And generally with that, what we'll see is there are storage trends that you can see. So you can see the storage over time. So if we see that they've, for example, if it's a 10-user deployment, we give them 250 gigs. We can see that if it's taking them 18 months to hit that quota, we can give them a rough estimate on when they should expect a potential another bump based on the past growth that we've seen.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, that's really interesting that you kind of take a forward-looking view and you project, based on what's happened in the last year or two or whatever, here's what we think will happen in the future. That's very interesting.
Yep, we look at those reports quarterly with our clients in our VCIO process, and our VCIOs will make recommendations based on those trends.
Cool. Okay, so you do like quarterly reviews with your clients.
Yep. You got it.
Cool. And you touched on this earlier about using the private cloud version of Anchor as opposed to the SaaS version. So what was kind of the rationale for doing that? Because that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. A couple things. Number one, we already have a pretty, fairly large and mature private cloud. It's all based on Cisco UCS computing and Cisco Nexus networking, 3-PAR enterprise storage. And we've centralized a lot of our clients in that private cloud. 65% of our clients are healthcare, biotech, and life science companies. We have to comply with some pretty complex regulations. And by moving them into this environment that was purpose-built to comply with their regulation and built on the same enterprise-grade reference architecture as other Fortune 500 healthcare companies, we are able to help empower their core infrastructure for growth and scale and reliability. And we were able to add the same amount of reliability to this enterprise-grade file sync tool and run it in that same environment. So since we already had made that investment, it made sense for us to use the private cloud deployment. If we did not have that, we probably would just be using Anchor's cloud. Although because it's in our private cloud, it makes it easier for us to comply with these regulations and meet with auditors and show them our SOPs and evidence that we are within compliance. Since we're not using a third-party cloud, we're just using third-party software that sits in our cloud. Everything comes back to us as that single point of accountability.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that can really provide your clients with a lot of assurance because if you control the cloud and you control the entire environment and you've got all the documentation at hand, you know, even though we are more than happy to sign BA agreements with all of our partners and, you know, provide any kind of documentation, that is really, really good to know for some clients that, hey, I know exactly where my data is being stored. You know, the same person that gives me the actual service and support, I can also call them up and they can tell me at any given time where my data is and show me the documentation that they have on hand.
Exactly, and we're the only ones who are touching it.
Yep, cool. See, another question here from Steven. Is the integration able to handle charging by user and by storage?
Yep, yeah, it sure is.
That's correct. And if you go back into the products that we had, if you can go back one screen.
Sure, we do that. There we are.
So under the ConnectWise billing settings, about halfway down on that screenshot, there's the billing enabled option. So really what you need to do is, we're only using number of accounts, and you can see that we have Cloud Sync specified there. That's the name of the product in ConnectWise. If you wanted to price per storage, really what you would need to do is have a product ID set up for storage, and then what increments you would want that to be. And then the same for the file server enablement piece. So if you're charging those individually, they just need to match the syntax needs to match whatever the product ID is in ConnectWise.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, we will, you know, we have a little video illustrating how the Anchor and ConnectWise integration works. We'll send out a link to all of you who are attending. So if you want to learn, you know, a little bit more in depth about how to do this integration, you'll be able to have that documentation to review. Let's see, Geo is asking, what about some users who use more than others? So let's say if you deploy 250 gigs to 10 users, but one user may use more than another, you know, how do you guys do it? I mean, it's pulled at the partner level from the eFolder side, but do you guys pull it at the account level, or how do you do it to ensure all the users are able to use however much they need?
Yeah, so we pull it at the client level so that you are going to have power users who want to save everything on their computer. You're going to have some that aren't using much, or they only have a few team shares. So what we do is we give them a pool of 250 gigabytes. We can run a report. If one person's using all of that, we can run a report to show the breakdown of who is using what. There's either a conversation that needs to have with that one person, or we just decide that, you know what, that person is using legitimate space, and we can add more on top of that. You can do it at the user level if you want to. What we see, though, is that you will see that same exact scenario where you may have 10 users who are using a lot more than the other 15. and we let them really determine how they want that storage to be allotted.
Cool. Yeah, it's all about, the best MSPs out there provide their clients with really flexible options. So we, as eFolder, we try to give you guys as much flexibility as possible by pulling storage at the partner level, and that way you can go out and allot it however you wish and in whichever way can really benefit your client. Cool. So now just a few questions. So I know you guys, we chatted on the phone before the webinar. So you guys were using a file sync service before deploying Anchor. So what issues or problems did you face, and what drove you to really embrace Anchor?
So what problems do we face? Yes, quite a few of them. We were using the Citrix ShareFile solution, and it was, not in our opinion enterprise grade. We had limited visibility over the product, so we could not see which devices were syncing successfully. I don't know if it's changed, but at the time we could not restrict the syncing to specific devices. We could not demonstrate to an auditor where data went and what was authorized to sync or not. And if a device stopped syncing, then someone's data could actually become at risk, because for our clients at the time, we were using ShareFile to synchronize data from their mobile devices like laptops back into their corporate file server environment. We had limited visibility, and a lot of the management was very manual. There was no PSA integration, so everything invoicing related was manual. And if there was an overage, we would be on the hook for it, even if a client, didn't approve it.
Yeesh. Sounds like a lot of drawbacks.
Yeah, there definitely were. Sean can probably speak more to some of the technical issues, but this was a solution that we were looking for quite some time.
Yeah, we looked at ShareFile, and this is still 5 years ago when we started originally using ShareFile, just because it was the best of what was out there at the time. There were things that were lacking. One of the biggest pieces that a lot of our clients do have fairly large established file servers and server deployments. So giving them an option that would still integrate with those file servers and not have two different forms of the truth in two different locations. It becomes increasingly hard when you have that amount of data sprawl to control what is being shared and where. So ShareFile did have some of this, but they weren't able to really give us the full spectrum of what we needed, which was remote file sharing capabilities, single sign-on, and they've integrated some of those now, but it's still not the level that we needed it to be, which is why we started talking to Anchor several years ago, made sure we understood what the platform looked like, worked with them on some feature requests that they were more than happy to oblige us with, and started deploying it. So we've now deployed it to about, I'd have to look at the number, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 users are currently on our Anchor platform.
Wow, 2,000 users. So that's about half of the end users that you manage in total.
That's right. So a lot of those, some of those users use CloudSync / Anchor as their primary file sharing system. A lot of them use it on their mobile devices only. We have a prospect right now that we're talking to that has about 600 employees, and we're looking at deploying CloudSync / Anchor to their 300 mobile users. So the 300 mobile users with laptops, they would all have CloudSync installed.
Cool. Gotcha.
One thing we use it for on those mobile devices also is replicating data, like their My Documents and stuff like that. The data that used to get synchronized in a roaming profile back in the day, we use CloudSync to replicate that data back to their file servers, not to share it with everyone else, but so that we have a copy of that data offsite in their environment, and they can access it from their mobile devices like iPads and iPhones. They can also access it through a web interface if they ever needed a document and didn't have their laptop with them or weren't at the office. And if they lose their laptop, we can quickly synchronize their data back down. And once they type in their credentials in CloudSync, which is the Anchor app, everything will start synchronizing, and they don't have to do any further technical configuration.
Yep, and that's a really interesting point, because I think it brings up one of the many ways in which Anchor or CloudSync in this case is differentiated from services like Dropbox and OneDrive, because you are able to not only back up whatever's stored in the sync folder, but also whatever's outside of it, like the documents and the music and you know, the desktop folder. I mean, me personally, at eFolder, we obviously are all about backup and data protection in addition to file sync, but ironically, my previous work laptop did not have any backup software installed on it, and it died last summer. But fortunately, when I got my new laptop, I was able to log into Anchor, and because I had backed up my downloads and my documents to Anchor from the old laptop, I was able to sync everything down to the new machine. So that really saved my butt. And it's really kind of a whole, you got to drink your own Kool-Aid type scenario.
Yep. I'm one of those guys who has, you know, a desktop, a ThinkPad, an iPad, a MacBook. So I've got a whole bunch of devices, and I've just got all my same documents synchronizing to every device, so I can use whatever computer I choose or is convenient, and I'm not hindered by not having access to important data.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. So another question, more about ConnectWise and PSA. So how long have you guys been using ConnectWise, and why is it the best PSA for your business?
Since 2005, for 10 long years. In terms of best PSA for our business, I mean, we have a fairly mature ConnectWise deployment. You know, there probably wouldn't be a major business driver for us to consider changing right now. In order to make ConnectWise, you know, the best PSA possible for our business, we've had to add a lot of bolt-on applications to it, quoting tools, remote control tools like Screen Connect, BI tools like BrightGauge to give us data and access to metrics that you can't see inside of ConnectWise very well. But with all the bolt-ons and integration that we've done, we've made it really the primary business application for our entire company.
Cool. All right. Next question. How long did it take to set up the integration between Anchor and ConnectWise for you guys?
I think about 5 minutes. Is that right, Sean?
Yeah, it's very straightforward. It's a couple of minutes and it's a few steps. Not hard at all. Just making sure that if you're going to do the billing piece, just make sure that those products are set up inside of ConnectWise prior to enable billing.
Good point.
Cool. Yeah, we have a really simple how-to guide that, again, we'll send to everyone attending today. But yeah, seems like you just get somebody to do it, go grab a cup of coffee, and then by the time you're back, it should be set up.
That's it.
You got it.
Cool. And final question, I mean, now that you've had a file sync solution that integrates with your PSA tool, would you ever consider deploying one that didn't offer that kind of integration?
No, I mean, not with what we know today. There would have to be some very compelling features or events to get us to consider doing that. But assuming assuming that's not the case, no.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So here's just a really simple, like 5-step process that we've put together for integrating Anchor with ConnectWise. I do again want to mention that Anchor works with AutoTask as well, but we're focusing on ConnectWise today because that's what Eric and Sean are working with. So first to actually, Sean, why don't you go ahead and walk us through this because it seems more something that you would be able to talk to than me.
Yep. So yeah, the integrator login is under setup tables, the same way you would do any other API integrations that you may have with ConnectWise. Set up the username anchor. I would advise using a strong password just because it is API access. Once that's added, you would set up your products and your agreements if you haven't already for Anchor inside of ConnectWise. The same way you would do any other products that you would sell, just making sure that you know the exact syntax of the name of the product if you're billing for number of users, file storage, and file server enablement. Third piece is once you're logged in at the root level, is to go into the PSA setup in the settings of Anchor, enter your URL for ConnectWise, the integrator login, and then save it. It'll come back and either throw an error if it was unsuccessful, or if it's not, if it is successful, you get a nice, pretty green checkbox that everyone loves. Once that's done, it's going to then map your organizations and match those up that you have set up inside of Anchor. The last piece, and I think the part that makes the most sense, is make sure you understand what you want to be alerted on. Those alerts are extremely valuable because it requires no interaction from your users. You can automate them and set them up. We obviously want our account managers and VCIOs to be notified when we're reaching quotas or user accounts are being exceeded, because that's an opportunity to capture new MRR, and that is their primary job, so they should be doing it.
Yeah, that's a great point. That you mentioned it before, but when you've got this integration set up, it's not only about making your life easier in terms of billing and support and management, but you can really kind of make money by knowing exactly what and how everything is being utilized. So,
That's it.
the alerts are really a crucial aspect. So I know you guys have grown a pretty good bit in the last few years. So would you like to share kind of how this kind of growth in revenue has been achieved?
Yeah, I don't think there's any one thing that specifically achieved it, other than our culture of care, our commitment to our client success, and being focused operationally on process and scalability, and also embodying that culture. We're in service, we're in business to serve our clients first, before anything else, and then also finding new companies in the community that would be a good fit for us, that mesh well with our company culture, and have IT needs that we can help solve. A lot of our clients are growing, and we've been able to grow and scale with them, which has been really nice. It's helped us grow at the same time. And further, ahead in the future, we have a similar commitment to growth, not just for the sake of growth either, but because if we don't grow, we don't give our employees opportunity in their careers for growth, and they'll just hit a glass ceiling at some point and find an opportunity elsewhere. We have very low client and employee attrition, and part of that comes from us being able to retain our top talent and give them a career roadmap that's aligned with our growth, and not keep them pigeonholed into a position just because it's the only one available on the team. The more we grow, the more positions we have on the team, and the more we can continue to retain that top talent and help them move forward in their careers at the same time.
Awesome. Sounds like a great place to work. I'll let you know if I'm interested.
We've been voted top 10 best places to work in San Diego for the last 3 years in a row.
Wow, that's great. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing.
Very, very proud of that.
Yeah, no, that's something definitely to be very proud of. Cool. So let's go to questions now. We've got a number of them. So Gio is asking a number of questions about how do you compete against services like Dropbox for Business and OneDrive for Business. these are not services that don't have administrative features. So how do you compete against them if a client says, hey, why can't I just use Dropbox for business or whatever for business?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really competing necessarily. We follow a process to help our clients document their requirements and then evaluate them. And many of the time, very few times did Dropbox actually meet all of their actual requirements. Something like OneDrive, usually meets some of the requirements, although they've still experienced a lot of issues with reliability on the syncing and some other bugs that I think Microsoft is still trying to work out. Also, a lot of our clients still have a mature file server infrastructure, and they want they want to cloud enable that file server, and this is a great way to do that.
And the other part is that when we sell this, it's not meant to be. We're not leading with Anchor. It's a complement to our overall managed services. So when we give them a price to say this is what your MRR or the cost is going to be per month, all of these things are included. We're not going to line item each one of these. We're going to say we're automatically including this for you because we want to make sure we can give you a predictable outcome and know what you're getting. So it's really a value add. And it complements what we do already.
Gotcha. And what would you say, I know you bundle everything into one all-you-can-eat package, but what would you say are gross margins that you achieve on Anchor? I mean, if you were to kind of line item it separately, what kind of margin?
You do look at it. Yeah, I mean, we do break it out and look at it separately. And it's a 70% gross margin.
Wow. Okay, so really high markup there. So you're able to make
great margin solutions. Yep, we're able to make a decent margin and still sell it for less than things like Dropbox or Box.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, eFolder doesn't make money unless our partners make money. So that's the way we do things here. Let's see. So geocaching, do you use ConnectWise for billing as well, or another product?
Yeah, all the invoicing goes out of ConnectWise. We have ConnectWise integrated with QuickBooks Enterprise, so the two systems sync together. But ConnectWise, we use ConnectWise for all of our invoicing.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Question here from Victor. It's already been answered, I think, but can we enable server share folder? Victor, if you're referring to cloud enabling the file server, that's one of the standout features of Anchor. So for those clients that want a hybrid environment where they want that on-site file server, but they also want to be able to access those files anywhere they are from any device and have all the changes and additions and modifications sync back to the file server, that is completely possible through Anchor. Let's see. Jay is asking, do you have a separate board for Anchor? I think he's referring to boards in ConnectWise.
Nope. Those just go on. So we have our service team broken off into different pods that service a certain number of our clients. And, Anchor Client 1 from Pod 1 would just go to Pod 1's board.
Cool. Got it. Yeah, one question Gio's asking is, how do you handle storage limitations on laptops and other devices that don't have, maybe a ton of storage on them?
Yeah, so, for that, and I would say that for anyone that's going to deploy this, a design session I would absolutely recommend having a design session before deploying. The big reason is that if they're setting up file shares that are coming from a traditional file server, just educating them on the fact that if they deploy 500 gigs worth of shares through Anchor, you're going to need the appropriate space on those endpoints to be able to support it. There are ways that you can set it up so that it's only available through the web and only have specific shares available on an endpoint. But educating that, and actually, really we went through the growing pains of deploying it ourselves and making sure we understood, what our best practice was going to be and what we said our standards were, so we didn't run into those scenarios.
Awesome. Yeah, and one thing I should point out is that our Anchor product development team is really hard at work on a selective sync feature for Anchor. So you can, selectively sync different folders within a root. If you don't want to share, let's say, the whole root, but you want to only share certain aspects of it, you can do that with selective sync. And it is coming this year. I can't promise an exact timetable, but the team has committed to delivering selective sync this year in 2016. So all of our partners are really going to be able to benefit from that very soon.
Yeah, that's probably the number one feature that we need from Anchor right now.
Yep, and our team is really hard at work on it. We know that a lot of partners have been requesting it for a really long time, and we are really committed to delivering it because we know that so many people are going to benefit from it. Cool. So it doesn't look like there are any more questions here in the log. Oh, wait, no, there's one here from Ed, who's asking, how do sub-organizations work with the PSA integration?
Yeah, so, and I'm guessing, are we talking sub-organizations in Anchor or sub-organizations in ConnectWise?
Ed, you want to type into the question box to clarify? Wait for that to come in. Let's see. He says in Anchor.
Yeah, so all Anchor, I mean, when you set up a sub-organization under an Anchor deployment, so if it's client A and they create client B and C under them, it's still going to go back to client A because they're your client in ConnectWise and they're your client. So it would still be opened under that parent company. Because we're not billing their sub companies under it, that would still go back to whoever is the one that you integrate with ConnectWise, your client specifically.
Okay, cool. Yep, thanks for clarifying. All right, well, it doesn't look, no, there's one more question, and then we will close it off for today. Ed says, is there a way to separate it if you need to bill separately?
What would you be separating, the users from the storage?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's how we do it today, and that's why we have the storage product ID turned off in the integration, because we bill that separately under our cloud product line.
Okay. And if you need to bill sub-organizations separately, do you guys do that, or?
No, not really, because we would allocate the storage to the parent organization. So if it's allocated to the parent, if they want additional storage, we could allocate it certainly however they would like. What we want to do is really have that single point of accountability with our client, so that if we're giving them a terabyte of space and they want to set up 3 sub-companies and give them 250 gigs each, they can allocate it that way, but they're only going to be left with theirs with the remaining balance.
Yeah. And Ed, it seems like this is a really good question for your unique use case. So please shoot me an email or shoot your account manager an email, and we'll be more than happy to help you figure out kind of the best way to set up billing for you. But it looks like it is 12:01 here in California, so we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. But first off, I do want to thank not only everyone for attending, but especially Centris IT. Eric and Sean, thank you so much for being such great partners and lending your insight and your expertise for everyone attending today. I think everyone really appreciates it, and we deeply appreciate your partnership.
Yeah, thank you. eFolder has been a great partner for us, and we're always happy to help and give back whenever we can.
Awesome. That's so great to know. Well, thank you so much, everyone, again, for joining in today. Again, you will get a copy of the recording and the slides to look over later. But for now, this is Niraj signing off from San Francisco. Thank you all, and have a great day.